Well, we are in September, and tradition has it that that's back to school month, right? Well, I guess sometimes they start in August anymore now, don't they? But in any event, I like to, in the month of September, go back to the basics of what our science of mind teachings are all about, or religious science teachings are all about. And so I chose today's topic, the perfect whole. And one of the most familiar quotes of Ernest Holmes, who was the initiator of the religious science movement, would say, perfect God, perfect man, perfect being. And that is really truly the essence of the foundation of our teachings, is that there is one power, and we call it God, or all the different names of love and source and energy, and that it is whole, it is complete, it is perfect in every way, and it is in through everything. That wholeness is in and through all, in its entirety, and that includes us. Everything, nothing's excluded, correct? And so, well then, perfect God, perfect man, perfect being. Though we as humans have a tendency to look and see and evaluate and judge, it doesn't look perfect. It doesn't look whole. How can you say that? It doesn't really look that way. And what did the master teacher tell us? Judge with right judgment. Something was mentioned earlier this morning about seeing with the eyes of God. We have God's eyes. Those are the eyes that we are looking with. Another one of Ernest's quotes to what I'm looking for, I'm looking with. When we associate ourselves and really claim that oneness and get rid of the separateness, that's when we are able to experience the true love, the deep, unconditional, abiding love that we are. And yet we have this human side of us that still wants to judge and evaluate and look at it. I know that all of you are familiar with the old story about the farmer who had this stallion, beautiful horse, and he got loose one day and ran off. And then all the neighbors, oh, what a pity, horrible thing that could happen to you. And then, of course, a day or two later, he comes back with all a herd of mares following him. And then everyone rejoiced. Oh my gosh, what a great thing that was that happened, right? Exactly. And then, of course, the son wanted to try to tame some of these wild mares, and so he gets on the horse, tries to ride it, and what happens? He gets knocked off and breaks his leg. What a horrible thing that was. That couldn't have been the most horrible thing. Boy, you know, you thought that was a good thing, but now look what's happened to your son. And of course, then what happens? The army comes, and they're enlisting all well-bodied young men. And, oh, gee, you have a broken leg, we can't use you. What a fortuitous event that actually was. And this story can go on and on and on, because that's life. Right? And so we are here to remember that this infinite being is literally all goodness. No matter what we individually look at it as a calamity, as a less than, as a sad thing, we want to remember to look at it with the eyes of God, with the infinite. What is the bigger picture here? Get away from my little mouse, little whiskers this big, and get the eagle view from up above. the large picture. I was reading my truth journal this week. Anybody ever grab one of these? We've got them in a basket over there, I'm sure. This is Roy Eugene Davis, his center that he has in Georgia. He was probably one of the last of the individual students of Yogananda. So he puts out this, every month he puts out this wonderful little journal. And it's a different take than what, it's a yogi, you know, the yogas. And I think that it'd be a good one to share with you. I felt the depth of this truth in this information. I wanted to read it to you. It says, most enlightened people were self-confident, mentally competent, emotionally stable, fundamental, and felt worthy of being self and God realized before they were fully conscious. People who are insecure, confused, emotionally unstable, dysfunctional, and or think of themselves as unworthy of being self-realized are seldom successful in their self-improvement endeavors unless they have a transformative conversion experience, which can sometimes occur. When we know what to do to allow our mind to be purified, our awareness clarified, and our true nature fully realized, we should diligently do it. Mental and or emotional disorders should be healed when it is possible to do so. Addictive thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, harmful or non-useful habits, and unwholesome or harmful relationships should be discarded and more favorable conditions chosen. Scriptures and spiritual enlightenment teachings emphasize wise, powerful living and harmonious personal relationships. When the urge to be fully conscious that causes everyone to experience gradual spiritual awakening is carefully nurtured, awakening can be quicker. Attention to less outward-directed psychological conflicts are resolved, positive mental attitudes are preferred, supportive lifestyle regimes are maintained, and superconscious meditation is regularly practiced. Daily attentive meditation will enable you to do everything else you need to do to accomplish your mundane purposes and be self-realized in your current incarnation. Sincerely affirm with conviction, knowing the ultimate purpose of spiritual practice is to be fully enlightened, I support my commitment to my spiritual path with right, effective actions. And from the Bhagavad Gita, endowed with pure intellect, firmly self-controlled, discarding attachments and aversions, preferring solitude, controlling speech, body, and mind, devoted to transcendent meditation, renouncing egotism, forcefulness, pride, strong desires and attachments, unselfish and peaceful, that devotee is prepared for the ultimate realization. It's a different path than what we typically hear. But what it struck me, what I heard and felt, I suppose, in that teaching, and it's interesting how he kind of chides you at times. Your mundane things you do every day. You know, really? I thought that was my life. No. And yet, and of course, they believe in reincarnation. That's a here and there, you know. Actually, I suppose if you believed in reincarnation, it would be easier to acknowledge that eventually I will be self-realized. It may not be in this lifetime, but maybe the next one, who knows. But the ultimate, really what he's saying there to me, is that self-realization, meaning I am God in expression. I am this unique God in expression, because God never duplicates itself at all. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell on me. You know how that goes. So this last week, I went to the Sit and Fit for the first time. We have this little exercise group up in Alpine for the elderly people. And And we sit in a chair, and we do all these movements, to stretch our muscles, this and that and the other thing. And the room was full. It's at the community center. There's probably 80 people there. Every chair was filled. And so you're looking around, and you see everybody doing their thing and whatnot. And I'm sitting there, and it's my first time, And I look around, and a lot of the initial movements are with your arms. Your arms. Put your arms up, put your arms out, put your arms, all this stuff. And since I had polio when I was 5, this arm, this shoulder wiggles because there's no muscle there. And so it doesn't go up or out or whatever. It just does this thing. And it was interesting because my innate memory that I've grown up with internally was that I'm not like everybody else. I am less than. That's like this thing beneath. And then I had this recognition that, well, you know what, Kay? You're unique. There were other people in this room in wheelchairs or in walkers, and they, there's 2 or 3 of those people. Nobody else in this room was just putting one arm up. And it's our choice. Do you see that example, we, each of us individually, are always at choice as to how we can look, perceive, judge what's going on in our lives. And so when we become more and more entrenched in this realization that I and the Spirit, I and God, I am love in expression, how can I put myself down? The very first thing he says here, most enlightened people were self-confident, mentally competent, emotionally stable. We have in our teaching, and I think it initially came from Michael Beckwith, may have been others as well, but he talks about the 4 stages of spiritual maturity. And they're very wide. In fact, part of it was mentioned yesterday in the retreat. I tuned into it. I heard it anyway. But he talks about these 4 stages, and the first stage, where we are the most immature in our spiritual awareness, is that of the victim stage. That life is happening to me. And from that stage, we are at the most deepest level of separation, where the ego has separated us from our good, from our God, for whatever love, from whatever name you want to call it, our source, and we feel like we're isolated and we're alone, and we have to make things happen. And if we don't, life is going to do it to me. Look at here. Here it happened again. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because that's how we're looking at life. And so the second stage, if we are moving up in our spiritual awareness, in our spiritual maturity, then we go, and if you walked into a Science of Mind church, then you come into level 2, which says that life is not happening to me, but I can give my input into what's happening with life. I have dominion. My will. I can speak my word. We talk about our treatment, which is our way that we pray. It's a 5-step method of prayer. And I can speak my word, because the 3rd step in treatment is, what do you want? What do you want to have in your life? So you state it. You're specific. This is what I want. And so many times in newbies, when we come into new thought, we're like, yeah, this is cool. I can have what I want in life. Yes, I like this place. I'm not a worm in the dust? Really? Okay. And so we have wonderful demonstrations that happen in our lives. And it's fun, it's great. Now, in order to get to that stage, though, we have to give up. Every stage you have to give up something. So in the first stage, in order to get to the second stage, we had to give up blame and shame. And let those go. Now, when we get to the second stage and we're happy, we're doing our thing and all that business, you know what you have to give up to move to the third stage? Control. You got to give up control. Because what we're doing is we're moving into that third stage, which is you are the vessel through which the infinite moves. So it is through me. We surrender. We allow my will is thy will. And that is one of the most critical levels of change. And then remember now, this isn't linear. Your whole life isn't in victim stage and then, oh yes, I graduated. Now I'm in level 2. No. Because we will fluctuate back and forth depending on what area of our life we might still be the victim in that particular area. We have grown to number 3 in other areas where we allow life to flow through us. And then the fourth stage is as me. Complete union with the infinite, with love, with joy. And in that stage, there is this peace. There is this acceptance that life is good. That life is for me. It's not separate from me. This life I am living is the life of God. And it is grand. I love my life. One of the best mantras you can have. I love my life. And so as we're into this review, I suppose, would be in this month of our basic Science of Minds teachings, I want to just throw some of these out for you to make sure you know them on your checklist. We talk about the fact that we want to consciously, verbally say those things that we want to have in our lives. And so we talk about mantras and affirmations and all of the different things that we want to experience in life. We make up mantras all the time. And we are aware of the words that are coming out. And we catch ourselves, and we're here with each other to catch each other sometimes. I heard yesterday, cancel for something. I don't remember what it was. And so we develop our own affirmations. I love my life is a great one. Or whatever works for you that day. Change them out. Put a different one on your bulletin board. You know? So we call these tools for change. Why do we want to change? That's our nature. We are infinite beings, and we will change. And we want to change consciously, with maturity, with self-realization, with knowing the truth about me and the truth about you. That we are this one being expressing as many, and it's okay to be different. It's okay to be me. Affirmative prayer is another tool that we use. The steps are, the first step is recognizing there is only God, one power. Are we going to have our review, Mr. Otis, with... Are you ready to receive? R is recognition, there's only God. U is unification, that if that's all there is, then it's got to be me too. R is realization. This is what I want. That's the third step. This is what I want to experience. I speak my word. Fourth is thanksgiving. Are you ready? The 2 is thanksgiving. And the last one, are you ready to receive, is release. Letting it go. So those are our 5 steps for our affirmative prayer. And we write those out and we work with them. It's a formula for us. Meditation. Meditation is one of the deepest and, I say, easiest ways for self-realization. Lots of people go, oh, I can't meditate. I can't, I don't have I get distracted. This monkey mind starts in and I don't know what to do with it. And so remember last week we suggested what is meditation is a very good thing to know. You don't know how to do it if you don't know what it is. And what it is undistracted attention to reality, the big R, or love or God or whatever you want to call it. Undistracted attention. And so when you are sitting at the seashore and you are hearing those waves coming in, and you're hearing the birds, and you're in that element of nature, wherever it is, in the mountains. I mean, yesterday, beautiful, with all our hummingbirds flitting around everywhere and such. To me, that's meditation, because you have an undistracted attention to the reality around you. So give yourself credit. I'm meditating right now. I'm looking at a tree. Looking at those beautiful leaves, the way they move on the tree. There is something, a power, that we can't see. It's spiritual in nature. And it's moving those trees. And it's breathing me. It's beating my heart. I love it when, Wayne Dyer? Can you stop your fingernails from growing? Just try. Oh. Because there is this life force that is doing it. And that's what we want to connect with more and more and more and more, to be aware of it consciously. Journaling, writing down. We have all sorts of examples, don't we, today? Writing down what comes to mind so that you can get it out, you can capture it, you can look at it again, you can share it with others. Journaling is a great tool for change. Reading uplifting magazines. How many of you are going to grab one of these when you go out the door? Or whatever is in that basket over there. Help yourself. Reading scripture. Coming to church. There's one. Attending classes. Being around like-minded people that are here to uplift you. And that maybe are here to challenge you. Maybe tell you, hey, really? That's what you really want to say? Is that what you really want to experience? Listening to inspired speakers. Taking the time to allow your soul to enlarge. So as we do that, we are more and more and more consciously aware of that 4th stage of spiritual unfoldment, of thy will be done, accepting. Like yesterday, oh my gosh, the lady, the first element, and we had this schedule. The schedule was quite specific. Starts at this time, we had this much of a break, we have this and this and this, right? I mean, that's the way it was, because you had a lot going on. We wanted to get it all in. Of course, we had to have the root beer floats, and in any event. So, and the gong lady wasn't there. The first one on the list. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? But it gave us the opportunity. We went with the flow. And we decided, well, wouldn't this be a good idea to let everybody say their name and introduce themselves? And we allowed ourselves to just go with the flow all day long. Did you not feel that? Wasn't that great? And even if lunch was late, we got Ho'oponopono at the perfect and right time. That's another tool for change, by the way. Ho'oponopono. If you haven't heard about it, it's a Hawaiian way that you can remember to remember. To allow yourself to know your truth and everyone else's. It's a very, very simple process. I love you. A 4-step process. I love you. I love the God energy, the essence everywhere around me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was aware that I brought this experience, that I saw something that was less than. I'm sorry that I have that experience, and you're taking full responsibility. I'm sorry for that. And the third, please forgive me. Forgive me. And thank you. Let it go. That's Ho'oponopono. That's another tool to remember, to remember, to remember. And we had great examples yesterday of all different people that have used that method since we've had it taught here several years ago now, of people that are continuing to use it on a daily basis, and the wonderful results that have happened in their lives because of it. So we are again and again and again remembering to go back to our oneness, to this unity of life that is for us. You know, life, can you imagine life being a cheerleader for you? Even in the times of stress, in the times that you don't think you have enough strength to do whatever it is that needs to be done, in those times, life is still rooting for you. Saying you've got it. You have within you what you need in order to get through this and beyond it, else it wouldn't be there. We have this power within us that is infinite. All joy, all peace, all love. And it's always for us. What are some of our other things that we do? We set goals. We make a point of saying, this is what I'd like. And we say, this is what I like by when. Edwin Gaines, wonderful prosperity teacher. She tells you to put your goals down and put a specific date. And if that date comes and goes and you didn't get what you said you wanted, then you got to go back and say, where do I need to change in order to achieve this goal? The last one I have down here is find ways to serve. Find ways to enhance, embellish your talents, your individual, unique talents, and then give them away. Because that's what God does. God is always giving. You are God. An expression you want, your nature, is to give. In the flow. That's the way it is. So as we live in this at-one-ment, what happens is that we release fear. Fear goes by the wayside. It has no strength, it has no pull, it has no energy around us. Because we know that we are stronger, that we are capable, that we are confident in what we are. I'm going to go back to Roy Eugene Davis. Most enlightened people were self-confident. How many self-confident people do I have in this room? Well, we have some honest people in this room. Mentally competent? How many of you are mentally competent? Oh, please. You've got to put your hand up one time. How about emotionally stable? Yes. Sometimes. Yeah, that's true. Felt worth, and you felt worth. You have self-worth. That's really what it comes down to, is feeling that you have self-worth. And a lot of times what we do in our teaching is that we go through these processes to unbury what is hidden in our beliefs, in our subconscious, what we don't even know that we know, that's driving us. You know, in that subconscious level, to eradicate it, to bring it forth, to bring it out to the light and expose it for what it is and say, oh, thank you very much. I don't need that anymore. I don't need to think that just because my arm doesn't go up like everybody else's, that I am less than. How crazy is that? That's crazy.
I want to tell you.
But see, each of us has that. Not just me. You know, everybody has their little thing of, this is me, oh gosh, you know. And nobody else sees it. That's the amazing part about it, is we develop it all in our heads, right? And nobody else has a clue about it. I go, really? I was with somebody, a couple weeks ago, and I was brought up my polio, and they go, well, when did you get it? It's when I was 5. I've had it for all my life. Really? I never knew that. Been around me up for years. You know, but I know. And I gotta let that go. You know what? And this is interesting, because I was talking to my friend, my girlfriend. I could decide to heal that too. I could decide that there's a muscle there and that it works. Why not? If I'm infinite, right? I told you that. I see that mouth going. Exactly. As all of us can with all of our maladies, right? And that's where we are one, in this knowing that we are beyond what this physical form shows up as at this moment in time. And so I commend you all. I know you're all self-confident. I know you're all emotionally stable. Most of the time, no. And that you are God-realized and self-realized right here and right now. I know this for you. And so it is. Namaste.